My next guest is Tim Thomas, a man on a mission to transform lives and uplift the world, one night of quality sleep at a time. With over a decade of experience in the gritty, high stakes world of veteran recovery, Tim brings an unparalleled depth of insight forged through lived experiences of mental health, wellness research, and breath work. He's not just a storyteller, he's a catalyst for change, inspiring audiences to unlock the hidden potential that comes with better sleep and a generous heart. Tim's passion lies in helping people access the transformative power of rest and connection, showing how to fuel resilience, clarity, and fulfillment. His energy is contagious, his insights are actionable, and his message will definitely leave you empowered and excited. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, welcome Tim Thomas to the show. Tim, thanks for joining us.
Chuka, thank you, and thank you for the wonderful intro. It's great to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so let me go ahead and dive right in. Many veteran entrepreneurs in our audience, they face unique challenges in transitioning from civilian life and starting businesses. What lessons from your time in the special forces do you think apply most directly to entrepreneurship?
Sure. Okay. Well, fun fact about me is I'm dyslexic, right? That means I struggle to read and write, but I see things in patterns. So, that means I talk a bit differently. And so when I'm talking about, a subject I'm passionate about, I see images, right? So when I got out of the special forces, I spent a lot of time on boats, and, on the back of the boat, you've got that outboard motor. And on that outboard motor, you'd have this zinc plate, which would corrode more rapidly so that the motor could function in a very hostile environment, which is the ocean. So this it was called a sacrificial anode. This thing would sacrifice itself so you'd have this nice shiny motor that could function in a hostile environment. And I saw this sacrificial anode, and I'm like, that's what a soldier's body is. We depreciate ourselves so the people we love can function in a world that could be potentially hostile to them. And so getting out of the Defense Force, a lot of Defense Force personnel have this idea that to move forward, we have to sacrifice ourselves to move forward. So, and I always think that the Defense Force ages you in dog years, like 1 year in is like 7 years out. So, I did 6 years of service, but I felt like it aged my body 42 years. Right.
Wow.
So the idea of making progress and sacrificing oneself is kind of, it's just something that we do, and so what I would say to people is lay hold powerfully of that, I'm going to make this happen no matter what, but also say, I'm going to look after myself no matter what. Okay. So laying hold of those two things, it is my will that I'm going to go forward, but I'm also going to look after myself in the meanwhile. And that's quite a switch, because you will make more progress if you flog yourself and depreciate yourself and make these massive sacrifices, say within 2 years, right? But I say to people, if you're looking at this from a monetary perspective alone, who's going to make more money? Someone who's just, flogging themselves for 2 years, or pacing himself over 15 years? You know what I mean? Because it does take an amount of time to prioritize your own self-care. And Defence Force personnel have this assumed sense of, well, for me to make this happen, I've got to sacrifice myself, you know? And I did that for years. And it starts with things like, oh, you know, I haven't laughed in years, you know, I haven't had any fun. I haven't stopped and seen the beauty of nature. And so these things happen by degrees. So what I would say to people is, yeah, those two main points: have your intention, be powerful about it, but also be very powerful about prioritizing your own wellness and self-care. We mentioned this earlier, Chuka. What would happen if you never serviced your vehicle? You know, yes, you'd get from A to B and you wouldn't have to slow down and check it in for a service, but there'd come a point where that broke down. And, you know, would you blame the car for breaking down? Would you swear at the car saying, how did you do this? Or would you say, look, I didn't take the time to actually look after myself? And so most veterans that I've come across, fatigue, adrenal fatigue, burnout is a real thing, because they don't know it. They're just running off this idea that did work for them at some stage. And there are times to burn the candle at both ends. I think this country was made great by that. But burning the candle at both ends, if you do that for more than, say, a season, more than 3 or 4 months, there comes an incredible impact. Does that land over there, Chuka?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Let me ask you something about resilience real quick. I mean, resilience, it's a key theme in your work. Can you share a moment in time during your business life when resilience kind of pushed you through?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay. This one's going to get really real. So I had my first business leaving the army, and that was an outdoor boot camp, you know, and it was going well, but everything in my life was going to hell. I was like a lot of blokes. I had undiagnosed PTSD, and I told myself that as long as I could do my work, everything was okay. But I couldn't not drink at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, I had to drink before I spoke to my then wife. I call her my then wife, not my ex-wife, because I have a stand for a positive future for her. And so everything was going to hell in a handbasket, and I was reaching rock bottom. And then with all this crap going on, I thought, well, what's to do right now? And I thought, well, I guess in this situation I've never been in before, you've got to see a psychologist. And that was really confronting to me, because I'm like, I don't know this guy. Who the hell is this guy? He's just a complete stranger to me. But is this what we're supposed to do? So I felt forced to go and do this thing. So I'm driving there, kind of peeking out, and I tell him all the you know, shit that I saw in service. And this guy wasn't just incompetent. Like, incompetence I can handle. He was completely apathetic. And after I told him all the shit that I saw, he said, oh, do you think it was a problem with your mum and dad? And that's when everything froze. You know, the ticking on the clock just went, and I became very aware of what was in that room. And Chuka, I saw that he had a glass frame psychology degree behind him. And in my state of disconnect and pain, it made a lot of sense to grab that glass frame psychology degree and feed it down his neck.
Oh, man.
This guy, that was my postal moment, right? Because this guy was, in my mind, this guy was a healer, and he's not just not healing people, he's causing harm. So it made a lot of sense to remove this guy. So I get out of my chair to do it. And I felt this hand on my chest and these words, red flag. Tim, you're the toughest mofo you know. How many other people are in this space looking for help in a system that doesn't seem to want to help? And I sat down back into the chair, And that's when I saw him, Chuka. I saw thousands of people left and right of me looking in saying, Tim, if you can find a way forward for you, you can find a way forward for us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I said, look, it doesn't matter if it takes me a week, a month, or a decade. I've got to find a way forward right now. Because if I can do it for me, I can do it for all those others.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I discovered then, Shuka, was resilience. Let me back this up. Pain, it doesn't matter if it's physical or emotional. Okay, it gets to a certain duration or intensity where it stops just being pain. It transforms into something far more destructive. It transforms into loneliness, isolation. I'm the only one going through this. I've got these unspoken words in my heart that I can't share with anybody, because if I shared them with other people, that would make their life harder. So I've got to keep these unspoken words around my own heart. And those unspoken words turn into rocks. Okay. It gets really hard to feel anything. And when you're in that isolated state, you can do all sorts of crazy stuff and justify it. I was about to kill a man.
Oh, wow.
And that seemed completely right to me because I was alone and isolated. But when and this is something I'm going to ask everybody to look into, everybody is up against something. There's something you want to do. There might be something in the way of it, whether it's in, your work, your relationships. Ask the question, how many other people are in the same situation as you right now? Okay. And give that a number. Like this is not BS. This is a real number you can give it. Whatever you're up against, ask how many other people are in that same situation. Because when I sat back down in that chair and I saw probably 1 million people left and right of me, and I had this sense that if it took me a week, a month, a decade, that's the amount of time I'm going to be able to save all those other people. So conversely, if you put yourself in that situation, whatever you're up against, ask the question, how many other people are in that same situation? Because if you can connect to them and you can break your isolation, when we're feeling connected, there's nothing we can't handle. When we're feeling disconnected and isolated, everything is hard because everything is hard. So resilience to me is a level of connection. How connected you are is how resilient you are.
Wow, that's deep. That is really profound. Yeah, nobody's thinking about resilience in the vantage point of community. I mean, wow. I mean, actually, me, when I think of resilience, I'm thinking of it as a solo. Because I do marathons and everything, and we're the ones that are out there at 3 a.m. in the morning, and so I guess the biased vantage point of resilience is okay. Yeah, you got to push through. You got to put. But no, I like how you put it from the vantage point of community. Yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome. So now let me.
Chuka, I'll stop you there for a second, because what you're doing or those physical actions you're doing to develop yourself, okay, I'm going to just build that up for a second. All right. So picture everything in your life, right? All the things you have, your work, your play, your relationships, okay, and picture your body and mind in a physically strengthened and empowered state. Okay. I would say everything in your life is benefited. Now, conversely, if you're in a physically and mentally depreciated state, everything in your life wouldn't be as stable. Your work wouldn't be as secure. Your loved ones would still love you, but their life would be harder, right? So let's break this down. So when I go to the gym or when I'm working out, yeah, I'm a tough mofo, right? No one beats me. But what I break it down as is there's things in your life there's things you can do that make your life better, and there's things you can do to make your life worse. So every single step you're taking, running that marathon, everything in your life is getting that percentage better. So picture this, next time you're on your run, you tell yourself, if all I had to do was do this run to make everything in my life better, would I actually do it? So to get everything I truly want closer to me, so that's the connection point. So we can enhance, our physical toughness and get out there and kicking ass by layering in connection.
Wow.
Okay. So I especially like if I'm on the last rep and I've got like 8 reps to go, I just say to myself, if all I had to do to bring everything in my life closer was do those 8 reps, would I do it? F yeah.
Man, I wish I worked in the program that I'm doing. He wants you to coach. He wants you to push through every out. He wants you to go to muscle failure. And okay, let's not get distracted. When you're out there in the gym solo, okay, that's easy. That's easier said than done. But okay, yeah, no, but don't think I'm not gonna try that system that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let me ask you the next question. So in a scenario of small businesses, how can small business owners cultivate unshakable? Okay, what I will now call, now that you're here, unshakable resilience. As far as while running their businesses.
Okay, going off the theory that we are as powerful as we are connected. Okay, and here's a fun fact that you don't hear spoken about too often. A man's happiness and generosity is relative to how powerful he feels. Okay, so if you want to see an unhappy, stingy guy, it's because he doesn't feel powerful. And that power starts with us. All right, it starts underneath our own skin. It starts with our bodies. So the Chinese have been saying for millennia, first the body, then the mind. So having some physical engagement cannot be overstepped, because you can push your body without nourishing this thing. Just like you can run your phone without charging it or drive your car without servicing it for a certain period. But it's the people that service their cars, it's the people that charge their phones that have a longer life, in their chosen field of endeavor. Now, think of, and this is, and to dial down into this, think of energy like money. How you invest it is how you get it back. And you, Chuka, have a unique energy signature underneath that bag of meat that we call a body. And unique to you are things that you can do with your body that give you a really big return. Okay. Some people stretch, do yoga. Some people lift. Some people run. I love breathwork. Okay. And so just like you have an investment portfolio of shares, and you can see the shares that are really returning well and the ones that aren't, you wouldn't keep the ones that aren't. You'd put your money in the ones that get you a good return. Okay.
Yeah.
So part of this journey is dialing into the things that you can do with your body that give you the best return. And tapping into that regularly, creating a regular physical discipline. Now my sort of joy and the thing that I love sharing is giving people that physical discipline to breathe a certain way just before they go to sleep, so they have the best sleep ever. And then when they're getting out of bed in the morning, they aren't just sort of forcing themselves out with willpower. They're doing breath work and body activation to turn that lead into gold. So your feet are hitting the floor. And, I used to spend the first 2 hours of my day just hating life. Like, what the hell? Another goddamn day. Give me 6 coffees, right?
Is that on Monday?
Oh, yeah. So you know what it's like.
Oh, yeah.
So if you can win the first 10 minutes of the day, you can win the day, and so seeing that it's a not negotiable, protecting your, in my specialty is sleep, because then powerful connections outside of ourselves, because like I said, if you go off the theory that we're as powerful as we are connected, they only really happen if we're powerfully connected inside ourselves. You know, so our power starts with us, our happiness and generosity relative to how powerful we feel. And that starts with us. You know, if we have that expectation of us and we get that, then I find myself having less expectations of others. And you're not disappointed. You're just in that moment, and you usually get what you really want when you've got that resonance. So I've generally found that taking the time to invest in yourself, it does take time. Okay. It does mean that, you know, you have to dedicate a portion of your day to investing in this part of your business, so that you can get the other ones.
So now I think I asked this exact same scenario topic came up with one previous guest, because he's really into physical fitness too. So you feel that it's extremely high priority. You got to invest that time and take care, as you know, of yourself, whether it's physical fitness or the breath work like you're talking about.
Yeah, well, ideally, my specialty is quality rest equals quality performance. And if you dial into your physical discipline, it doesn't need hours and hours of work. It just means creating that level of abundance inside of yourself. Okay. I don't believe adequate is an option, especially if you're in business, because if I'm adequate, if I'm just at 100% and you know, someone needs 10%, and you know, I'll say, look, here's 10%, but I'm down to 90%. You better do something with that 10%. I start having expectations, you know, right? And if those expectations aren't fulfilled, or I don't get the return I want, I'm kind of like, F you, I'm pissed off now. And I'm wasting more energy on getting pissed off that my expectation wasn't met, right? But if I say, listen, I'm investing in me, I'm creating 500%, you know, so I can give 20% away a day. It doesn't matter. You know, I'm connected to something so much more powerful than what can be taken. You know what I mean? And we've all been taken from. And what happens is, when we get taken from, we tend to protect ourselves and move forward without, you know, let me put it this way. If I've only got 50 cents and someone takes 25 cents, then that's a massive withdrawal. I want to take that back. I get reactionary, right? But if I create $1 million, and I believe everyone should live like an energetic millionaire. All right. If I've got $1 million worth of energy and someone takes 25 cents, I'm like, keep it. I'm making another million tomorrow. You know, because I've been like it myself. You know, someone's taken 25 cents and I've spent years trying to get that back, like trying to chase a snake that's bitten me, as opposed to healing, regenerating, and moving forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so take the time to ensure that you're connected firstly with yourself. Absolutely insightful, very insightful. So let me ask you, and this is kind of a fun question, a fun mix with curiosity. I read through your profile. You said you got attacked by a shark. Can you can
Yeah,
you
sure.
can you kind of share that with us a little?
The fun thing about that one was, I've had a few NDEs, I've had a few near-death experiences, but this one was pretty cool. This shark was chewing down on my leg, and they have an eyebrow. They had an eyebrow, and they have eyelids. Sharks have eyelids, right? So they can open and close their eyes. They have what's called a nictating membrane. And so this thing is chewing down on my leg, and it's going, like this, right? And I'm like, fuck me, I'm getting chewed up by a shark right now. And then I had this all my life flash in front of my eyes, like everything. And I'm freaking out, but it was like all my memories became like a Google search. So I'm in this situation. I've got all this information in front of me. And I'm like, okay, well, what do I have here that's related to sharks? And I pulled up all my shark memories. It's just like typing in a Google search, right? And time slowed down. Time slowed down for me, right? And so I pulled up all the information about sharks. But that wasn't very helpful because all it was is memories of me terrified of sharks. Because I grew up on the west coast of South Australia as a kid, and I'd wake up screaming from nightmares about sharks, right? And I'm like, oh, geez, that's no good. Let's search up again predatory animals. So I searched it up again. And then I was in the hospital room with a mate of mine. Now, you guys have heard of the crocodile hunter, Steve Irwin?
Yeah.
Okay, so his right-hand man is a guy called Wes. Him and I are jiu-jitsu buddies, and he got munched by a crocodile. And so in my moment of, getting chewed on by a shark, I'm in the hospital room with Wes because he got attacked by a predatory animal, right? And I'm in there, and Wes said to me, he said, when it bit me, part of me was like, wow, it's finally happening. I've always wondered what this is like. And then I'm like, thank you, Wes. And then I get back into this moment of this, and I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of relaxed. Because I'm like, yeah, it's finally happening. My whole life I've been scared about this thing, and now it's actually happening, right? And then it wasn't that this thing was it wasn't that big, right? But it was, you don't know how strong these things are. It was maybe about 2 meters, right? But you don't know how strong these things are until they get a hold of you. So I'd never and I was a professional fighter before I was in the special forces, and you get thrown around a lot, and when you're jumping out of planes, you hit the ground pretty hard, and so you get a sense of your own body. I've never been ragdolled like that. So this shark had me, and as it was shaking, it was like,
oh man,
it was like that. It was like your whole body, and I'd never been shaken like that before, right? And it wasn't that it was doing so much damage, but I was drowning. Right. And it was tangling me up in my float line because I was out spearfishing, and I was in the water with a fellow commando, and he came down to take a shot. And this is just like when we're in the kill house training, so close quarter combat. So we call it a kill house where we get used to shooting close to each other, right? And so he came down, and here's the funny thing, Chuka. In that moment, I'm nearly drowned. I'm like, I'm freaking gone here. Jimmy's coming down. Like most special forces guys, they're kind of hard to get along with normally, right? But when shit goes down, you're glad they're there, right? So this Jimmy's coming down, and he's got this look in his eye, and he's like, I've got this, and I've got you. And it was in that moment I realized how powerful human trust is, because when even though I'm about to drown, the trust I felt in my brother, I completely relaxed, and I turned my body so he could take a shot. He had to shoot this shark on my leg, but that complete trust had me relax in the worst situation. And it's changed everything for me after that, because I'm like, it's not more stuff that we need to feel secure. It's more trust.
More trust. Okay.
And so there was a lot of lessons in that. But afterwards, someone asked me about, seeing my life flash before my eyes. And they said, do you think that was a spiritual experience? And I said, no. Because all it was my life from my perspective. I didn't see anything new there. It was cool, like seeing everything going right. But it wasn't anything new. And I said, if that was a spiritual experience, I wouldn't just see my actions. I'd see how that action then impacted others, and that impacted others and others and others, right? And so it gave me the perspective that from my set of eyes, I can't see how my actions impact onwards, right? And I'm sure if I have a faith that allows me to think that when I get to the other side, God will say, here's your life as you saw it. Here's your
Mhm.
life as I saw it. And he'll show how all those actions impacted others, right? But all I've got
Mhm.
in this world, and I think all everyone has, is that sense of this feels right for me. It feels good. It lights me up. Okay.
Mhm.
That's our guidance thing to then, impact positively and powerfully on others. And so that idea of we can't see the full picture, but we have an inner compass that if we follow is creating powerful and positive ripple effects that one day we will see, but right now it just feels good to live.
Mhm. Mhm. Wow. Yeah. That's very profound. I mean, well, I'm glad that you made it through it because obviously you're putting out a lot of tons and tons of value to the rest of humanity. From what you're doing now. Awesome, awesome. So let's dive into your domain now. You're a big advocate for optimal rest and sleep for small business owners. You know, they're often burning the candle at both ends. What are some actionable steps they can take to improve the quality of their rest?
Got it. And this does tie into, when we're in the defense force,
Hmm.
there is a time to burn the candle at both ends. There is a time to self-sacrifice. This country is made great by that.
Yeah.
But if that becomes your go-to, you're going to end up cashing in your tomorrow to live today.
Hmm.
So what I get people to think of is I get them to picture everything in your life, absolutely everything. The quality of your relationships, the quality of your work, the quality of your income, the quality of everything. The quality of everything in your life is relative to the quality of your sleep.
Wow.
Okay. Sleep is the soil from which everything grows. Now, if you want to destroy a plant, you destroy the soil. And this is what we used to do in the special forces. We used to actively
Uh-huh.
target our enemy's sleep because we knew if we could deny them sleep for 3 nights,
Yeah.
that would mess them up better than a bullet. All right. And
Let,
these are
let me
guys. Yeah, go, go,
uh-huh.
go. There you go.
Let me ask you a follow-up question to that. Because is it because that it's the one time that you're resting, you have all these hours back to back to back that you're doing nothing but rest, or is this something bigger than that? I mean, is it related to just having like 5 hours or 6 hours of rest back to back, or is it
Okay.
something more?
Well, yes, there is something more because
Uh-huh.
a lot of people talk about this sort of stuff, and yeah, everyone knows sleep's important, but what can I
Yeah.
action right now? And I'm
Uh-huh.
I'm committed to giving the listeners and yourself a lived experience of what it is to access your deep relaxation. So everyone's got a
Mm-hmm.
muscle that can, lift stuff, and if you can't lift something, you need a stronger muscle. All right,
Mm-hmm.
you've got a muscle inside of yourself called the parasympathetic center, nervous system, which is basically something that can relax your body. And a lot of people don't know how to tap into that.
Mm-hmm.
So developing that part of you that can help you rest and digest, that is the thing that allows you to then get into deep sleep. Because everyone knows, sleep's important, but flick the light off at the end of the night, get into bed, and you haven't accessed that relaxation part of you, man. And it
Mm-hmm.
becomes normal. For years it was normal for me not to sleep, to
Mm-hmm.
wake up feeling like crap. Everyone's doing it, so I'll just have another coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so think of your PNS, your parasympathetic nervous system, like one of those. You're on an aircraft carrier. They've got those arresting cords. Those catch straps. When the
Mm-hmm.
plane comes in, it catches on the plane.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So think of your PNS as that catch strap. So the plane comes in, it slows down,
Mm-hmm.
the pilot can get out and have some R&R on the aircraft carrier. And think of
Mm-hmm.
think of the pilot like your brain. And, as much as that plane, us, we're made, to fly around, hit targets, all that sort of stuff. If we don't have that, catch strap, if we don't have that arresting cord to slow down and hit that aircraft carrier, well, they have to power up and then keep going, right?
Mm-hmm.
And can you imagine that the quality of performance of that fighter pilot if they were continually doing mission after mission without proper sleep? Okay, you can have the best stuff around you, but if you're in a state of fatigue, everything goes to hell. So having the ability, and think of the aircraft carrier like your bed, having the ability to slow yourself down is not a muscle group that the military, in my experience, shows people how to access. And before the end of this podcast, I'm going to show you all how to access that within 3 breaths. That's my promise to you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So the
parasympathetic nervous center.
Nerve center. Okay.
Nervous system. Parasympathetic nervous system.
Yeah. Notice that I slowed way the hell down when when I was saying that. I'm not gonna dare say that 3 times in a row. Yeah. Okay. So
basically, yeah. There's if you're in fight or flight, or if you've got something that's unhealed inside of you, in layman's terms, it just means you can't fully relax, and it becomes normal to wake up highly stressed. It's just normal. And it's funny how senses of normal can seem, senses of high stress can seem normal, especially to veterans, because we pride ourselves on how much crap we can handle without flinching. You know what I mean? And life just becomes this, shit eating competition. Oh, I've eaten 10 buckets of shit today. That's I'm suffering right now. So therefore someone must be benefiting somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So let maybe I mean we are on video. So can we get an example of this? What is like a simple, like a real quick and simple breathwork exercise that people can use to eliminate just stress. Because business owners, that small business owners.
I'm going to show you my favorite move. Breath work isn't hard to do, but because we've been breathing our whole lives, we've got a certain way of doing it. So imagine if people only ever took 2-inch steps and everyone was doing it, so it seemed normal. To take a full stride would blow people's mind initially. All right. So you have to just allow yourself to relax and try this on. My only request is, if people are doing this, they do it in a seated position, either seated, laying down somewhere where you're safe, you're not driving your car, or you're not cutting up carrots. Because this done right will really relax you. So all we're going to do is just gently breathe in, and then breathe in again and again and again and again. Now, Chuka, did you notice you had a little bit more space when you breathed in again and again?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just call that your secondary inhale. All right, so there's the point where you normally breathe in, but then there's your secondary inhale, which fills in the top third of your lungs. Now, you didn't know this, Chuka, and neither possibly the audience didn't know as well, but you've got a little turbo buttons in your fingers. So see how my thumb is pressed into 2 fingers right now. So I'm going to breathe in normally, and when it gets to that secondary inhale, I'm going to hit my turbo buttons as hard as I can. So it's going to be breathe in and then hit those turbo buttons. So just get your buttons ready there, Chuka. So just breathe in normally and then hit your turbo buttons and give that a bit of a boost. Really squeeze them hard when it comes in. And then just let that out. Okay. Did you notice a little bit of a boost when you hit those turbo buttons in that secondary inhale?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So let's just smooth this out. Let's breathe in normally. And when it gets to that secondary inhale, give it a nice big boost. And just hold it and wriggle it around for a second. And then let it out. Okay. Now you notice that little bit of extra space, and you notice how you've got this little turbo button.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to juice that up even more. So think of these turbo buttons, your fingers and your chin, like a triangle, right? And what we're going to do, we're going to stretch out that triangle as we raise our chin up and look at the roof. Okay, it's a bit like you're looking at the roof and leaning back. So if you look at my side profile, I'll be going with my fingers, I'll be going and really trying to stretch my chin up as I squeeze my fingers and pull back. So I'll just invite people to just exhale, blow it out, blow it out, blow it out. Have your power triangle here. Start breathing in and then open it up. Raise your chin, squeeze your fingers, raise your chin, look at the ceiling and hold it there. Wriggle your shoulders back and forth, wriggle your shoulders back and forth. Feel that space opening up. And I invite you to let it out with a sigh.
Oh man, this is like a pre-marathon. It's like a pre-marathon. Okay, then I'm getting flashbacks, but okay, go ahead, man. Okay, so yeah, wow.
Okay, we're only halfway through. It's going to get really fun now. Okay, so this divide your lungs into your chest into thirds: your upper, your middle, your lower. Okay. Now, this top third, I call this the breath of possibility. If something feels impossible, or there's something that's in my head that feels impossible, these things here become my circuit breaker. Okay. So what I'll do, and when I'm in public, I might have my hands by my side. I'll be a bit more discreet, but I'll still do it. I'll really snort that air through my nose. So this time when we do it, I want you to really snort it as hard as you can through your nose. Because one thing my coach taught me is when you snort through your nose, through your sinuses, you oxygenate your brain. So before I did a particular combo, I'd really snort that nose and then I would oxygenate my brain. Okay, so we're breathing in some breath of possibility right now. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to really snort as firmly as we can through our nose to open everything up. Cool with that? So let's blow it all out. Relax, relax, relax. And then breathe in and then snort it at that last bit. Open up, open up, open up. Hold it, wriggle it. Stretch out that possibility. Make it possible. And then let it out with a juicy sigh. Okay. So when you're kicking around, this one is your circuit breaker. When something's feeling impossible, when something's feeling hard, you want a little refresh. Really develop that inhale power. Okay. Opening everything up, because watch what happens to my body when I'm feeling flat and low. See, I'm sort of hunched over. Okay. But when I look up and I breathe properly, proper breathing gives you proper alignment. Okay. And think of your nervous system like a bunch of pipes. Okay. And if you pinch a hose pipe, there's not much water coming off out of the end. All right. That's how our electrical circuits work. So if we're hunched over, we're kind of compressing them there's not much flow, right? But when we open everything up, so proper breathing gives you proper alignment. So there's a number of levels this is working on. We just know it feels good, right? Okay. So when you align yourself, okay, properly, you've got that flow and you're not pinching off your own power. Okay. If you really want to get visual on this, I always think, if you're hunched over, you're looking at the grave, that's where you're headed. If you're looking up, you're aligning yourself high, you're moving into the light, you're elevating yourself. So it's either life or death, man. And so I get sort of dramatic like that. So just to prove a point, because people do this stuff and they don't even know they're doing it. You know what I mean? So breath of possibility is up here. That's half of it. The next part's going to be really fun. This is my favorite part. So up here, breath of possibility, down low into where your belly button is and a bit below it, that's your breath of peace. So your lower third of your lungs is your most vascular place, where there's most blood that interacts with the oxygen. You get your best gas exchange there.
Yeah.
And so what we're going to do right now is we're going to arch up and breathe in. We're going to hold our breath, and then relax ourselves. So we go from a concave position to a convex, where we hunch over, we hold our breath, we move it. And I'll give you, I'm just walking you through it right now, and we'll do a demo afterwards, a lived experience afterwards. And we're going to roll it down, kind of like you're rolling it down like a tube of toothpaste. And we're going to push it all down low, and we're going to have our hands on our belly, and we're going to hold it down low, low, low. We're going to squeeze it, and we're going to stop it coming out with our mouth, and we're going to let it out with like a hissing sound, okay? And the longer you can make that hissing sound, the more effect this will take. And again, you need to be either seated or laying down. Don't do this driving or near water, all right? Or chopping up carrots. This is something that it might take. We'll do this 2 or 3 times, but done right, it will give you a very deep sense of peace. Okay, so enough talk. Let's give this a try. I'll talk you through it. Blow it all the way out. Relax, relax, relax. And then breathe in and really snort it. Look at the roof. Look at the roof. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Open, open, open. Breathe in more, 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 more. Hold it. Wriggle it around. Wriggle it around. Feel how good it is to wriggle it. Now, holding your breath, let your head relax forward. Let your shoulders relax forward. Let your head fully look at the floor. Let your head fully look at the floor. Hold your belly. Push it down low. Feel how that air is all down low. Hands on your belly. Hands on your belly. And then squeeze it down low. And then let it out with a as long as possible, as long as possible. And we're going to do that 3 times. Okay, so let's take another deep breath in. Feel how you can lengthen that breath, open wider like a flower that's opening up. Everything's opening. Hold it, wriggle it around, let it gently fall, and just let your body fall forward, gently fall forward. Everything's loose and relaxed, push it down low. Look at the floor, head further forward. Hold your belly, squeeze it down low, feeling you're pushing it down low, and then let it out twice as slow. Longer the better, longer the better. Very good, very good. And we're going to do this one last time. Breathing in, open everything up. Really roll those shoulders open your chest. Wriggle it, wriggle it, wriggle it, and allow your body just to fully relax, like just a bag of potato mash, down low, down low, down low. And then as you let it out, as it's down low, you're letting out super slow. Relax your whole body. Feel like your whole body is deflating and relaxing. Deflating and relaxing. All that tension is falling out as your exhale falls out. Hold that position and just stay in this position. I invite you just to close your eyes, take a gentle breath in, and sit back in your chair with your eyes closed. Eyes closed. Sit back in your chair and allow that chair to support your weight. Allow your weight to go into that chair. The chair was built to support you. Allow your muscles to be fully supported by that chair. So often in our tension, we don't allow ourselves to feel supported. It's like our tight muscles are trying to support us, but it doesn't work like that. We only feel supported and held when we completely relax. If you let that chair just take your weight, you'll see what it is to feel completely relaxed and completely supported. And I just invite you now to, whenever you're ready, put one hand on each shoulders. Take a deep breath in and then just squeeze grab your shoulders and really squeeze your arms. That's it. Squeeze it. And then deep breath in, move your hands further down, grab another part of your arm, squeeze your arms again. Really sort of give that self a good squeeze. And then just grip your forearms and just squeeze your forearms as hard as you can. Squeeze up and down those forearms. Squeezing up and down those forearms as hard as you can. And then put your hands together and interlock your fingers. Just squeeze them together. And breathe as you do it. That's it. Feel how your hands now are connected to your breath. When you want to breathe in, okay, you've got power in your hands right now to access your lungs. Feel that connection. All right. So all we're going to do right now is just flick out our hands. Flick, flick, flick. Flick them out as fast as you can, like flick them like hummingbirds. Hold your hands in a position you can flick them as fast as you can. Come on, Chuka, you can go faster. Fast, fast, fast. Okay, 5, 4, faster, 3, 2, 1. Now hold your hands like you're holding a ball. Okay, now feel that positive energy ball that you're holding. Push on it. Feel how thick it is with your positive energy. All right. Now, what we're going to do right now is take a deep breath in and expand it. Feel how that ball is growing. Okay. And now we're going to take another deep breath in and feel like this big glowing ball is going to cover our whole body. So breathe in and feel how that is now surrounding your whole body with energy and light. Okay. And really breathe into that. This is your energy. And what we're going to do right now is take another deep breath in. We're going to pull it inside our own skin. We're going to take that big ball of good energy that we're in. We're going to breathe it in and push it into our chest. And feel that energy pushing around your body, into your arms, into your legs, into your mind. This is your energy. This is what you've generated. You've generated this.
I like this one. I like it. Yeah, that's my best one, man. Yeah. So let me ask you before I forget. I know, okay, so for the typical business owner that's going on through a normal day's operations, you get up maybe at 6, do the morning routine, then kind of jump things off around 8:30 in the morning. And then you're done by maybe 6 p.m., just give or take.
Yep.
Okay, which along that timeline during the day, which part of that timeline is at which points rather would you recommend doing this breath work? Or does it?
Excellent question. Because we want to integrate this like we drink water, right?
Yeah,
most people don't drink enough water. And this is coming from a guy who lost 6 years of his life to pills. When I said I couldn't sleep, that I was a zombie eating pill eater for 6 years. And I didn't just have pills in the medicine cabinet. I had it in the cupboard, in my car, in the fruit bowl. So I was always self-medicating. And so what people realize is it's not a set of lungs we own, Chuka. It's a medicine cabinet underneath our rib cage with a lot of different shelves. Okay.
Wow.
So you get that?
Yeah. Oh,
so
man.
As you go through your day and you want to self-medicate, you want to get yourself back into where you want to be, whether it's relax, focus. If you can, if the only thing you get from this podcast is that breathwork technique, squeezing your fingers and tapping into that, you might just set a timer for 60 seconds and just do that, or have that as your go-to. All right. Through the day, whenever you need it, it's there. So it's not just, I don't see myself as a breathwork coach. I'm the person that introduces you to the love of your life.
Yeah.
Okay. Because this breath, this power is going to be with you wherever you go, when you go to sleep, when you wake up, when you're kicking around the place. But just like any person we have in our life, the more we connect with them, the better life is, right? So
Mm-hmm.
connecting back to your breath will need, a little bit of extra sort of investment, but what it gives you back, you become a sovereign individual. I use pills, I use alcohol, but this is for all sorts of things. This is well before I knew what the power of my own breath was. You don't hear about this sort of stuff, Chica, because no one's making money from it. There's a lot of money to be made from disempowered people, because when we're in states of fatigue, dumb shit seems like something I should do. Like,
Dumb shit can cost you, basically.
Yeah, I'm supposed to have a pair of shoes before I can feel good about myself. You know what I mean? And if I'm in fatigue, I might believe that. But if I'm a sovereign individual and I can nourish myself, like, dumb shit you can dispel really quickly and you don't waste any time with it. So what I encourage people to do is do it as much as you need it to create your new level of normal. Okay? Don't think body shape, think body state, the state of energy you want to be in.
State.
Because you can be in people work out thinking they want to be in a particular shape. I think that's a waste of time. A few years down the track, you might have the shape you want, but you can have the energetic state today.
Now. Wow.
Right now. Wow. So and that's what we can access. Again, you don't hear about this stuff. No one's making money from it, because if you become a sovereign individual, all that dumb shit becomes redundant. All that consumer, I've got to buy a bunch of shit.
Huh. Okay. Wow. Yeah, that is beautiful. Beautiful information. So let's see. Okay, so you've already talked about connection. Yeah, let's jump into your book, because I think that there's a segment here about your book. You wrote the book, Fight, Flight, Feel. Let's see if we can even display that here. Let me take a look.
I've got it laying around here somewhere. Hang on.
Oh, okay, great.
So here we go. So that's the book there, Fight, Flight, Feel. And the premise of it is, what if something already inside of you could change everything outside of you? And it's kind of a rhetorical question. I share what worked for me in a situation where in Afghanistan I was cut off in an ambush. But the question needs to be asked by yourself and everyone listening. If I knew what the one thing I could be doing for myself would be that would make the most amount of difference, what would it be? And you might ask, well, am I doing it, or am I doing it enough to get the difference that I'm looking for? Okay. So think of that. I mean, if you take your time to think about that one thing that you could do that would make the most amount of difference. And to me, I know what it is for me, but if I'm going to add value to others, we need to have them looking at themselves as opposed to, looking at someone else's way of doing. But if you ask yourself, think of that one thing like medicine, you need the right dose of it. Let's just say you've got a headache and you pick up a Panadol, you lick it. It's not going to do anything. You need to take, one or two of them, right? So that thing that you do needs to be at the right dose rate to get the return. So when and I'll just share, in the book, I talk about when I was cut off in this ambush. Everyone in the vehicle just knew, look, it was an RPG ambush. And the vehicle commander said, fellas, if this goes the way I think it will, it's been an honor serving with you. And I got mad as hell, because the situation was, we're in a vehicle convoy. We knew what we're heading into. And it's the rear vehicle that always gets attacked. So they always put the heavily armored vehicles down the rear. And the vehicle we were in was just a 4-wheel drive with no roof, machine gun, in place. And this heavily armored vehicle actually cut us off, and we were then the rear vehicle going into this ambush. And And I was so mad, thinking that this guy is just a chicken shit, yellow belly. We're now going to get shot to hell.
Mm-hmm.
And look, long story short, I asked a question of myself that has sculpted the rest of my life, and it led me to something that I'm going to share with you. I asked myself, Tim, who do you know has done this before, and how did they get through it? And the fact was, I didn't know anyone. The night got darker, and I felt very alone. But then I started thinking outside of my timeline, and I thought, well, you know what? I do know somebody who on a night as dark as this came up against an enemy that was waiting for them. And that was the Australian Anzacs. So we have the Anzacs on the beach of Gallipoli. They went against Turkish defenders that were waiting for them. And it was just a crap sandwich. They had to go up a hill with the enemy just raining down fire on them. And I said, well, what did they do in that situation? Well, they kept moving forward. The outside world could not stop them from seeing the power inside them. Mm-hmm. And I swear, Chuka, there was like this is over 100 years ago, right? And it was like a portal in time opened up, and they come through it. And in Australia, on Anzac Day, we have an Anzac Day here. You have like Veterans Day and those sorts of things. Mm-hmm. We say, lest we forget, meaning, lest we forget the sacrifices of those who have gone before us. Mm-hmm. And it was like these Anzacs came through this portal in time and said, Tim, lest you forget, mm-hmm. Lest you forget the power inside of you, lest you forget the power of looking after your mates. And that reconnection, I was feeling alone and isolated when I was just getting all emotional about stuff. But when I got connected, it was like my higher thinking kicked in. Mm-hmm. And I started to get perspective. And a lot of cool things happened. But one thing that happened was like, you know what? They might find my body in 5 minutes' time. Mm-hmm. But you know what they're not going to find? Magazines full of bullets. I'm emptying all ammunition on this one. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, that's not a bad way to live. Whether I die in 5 minutes or 50 years, my magazines contain simple bullets, right? But mm-hmm. my mind, our minds, everyone listening's minds contain something more powerful than bullets. They contain ideas, thoughts, dreams. I think it'd be a greater tragedy to die with those things still in your head.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's powerfully stated right there. Yeah, because you never know, because a lot of times, your default thinking about those ideas is, will it help me make X amount of dollars, or will it not? You're not thinking, will it help this next person, or the person sitting next to you make. And I think for that reason, a lot of people just kind of. But you're right. You're absolutely right. That is very profound. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I guess I discovered what immortality looks like. Like those guys, mm-hmm. they're gone, they're dead, right? But even though mm-hmm. they'd passed, they were every bit as powerful. Mm-hmm. And just picture this, just the thought of you moving forward in your life gives somebody the ability to have a bunch of options they never thought of before, gives them hope, gives them power. Mm-hmm. And if you think that's BS, it's very obvious to prove it in the negative. Like if we all know someone that's taken from us, some a-hole, right? Mm-hmm. The thought of them takes from you. So surely the opposite is true too. When there's someone aligned with what they're doing and continually moving forward, that can give you, energy, power, options, possibility. Just having that thought mm-hmm. of that person. And I just invite people to see that this is the possibility we have, not just for ourselves, but for others, and to see your life from that perspective. I'm not 1 in a million. I'm 1,000,000 in 1. Mm-hmm. There's not just me moving forward, getting healing and restoring and developing. There's 1,000,000 of me.
Yeah. Wow. That's very insightful. I like to. I want to make sure. Okay, so before we close, where can what's your website and
Sure.
social media and all that good stuff?
Yeah, well, look, everything that we've spoken about,
Hmm.
I've created because, again, I don't just like talking about this. I want to give
Hmm.
people real, accessible stuff.
Hmm.
Everything we've spoken about, like an excellent evening routine and getting out of bed feeling amazing, is
Hmm.
in the Breathwork in Bed app. So you pick up your phone, three
Hmm.
words, Breathwork in Bed.
Hmm.
Okay. You'll be asked when you want to sleep, when you want to wake up, and you'll have notifications conveniently falling out of your phone when you need them. Okay,
Hmm.
so imagine, you set your alarm to go off, and I set mine a little bit earlier so I can spend the 5 or 10 minutes doing my body activation. Set your alarm, you'll see the notification there, you'll hit that, it'll bring you through to access that breath. Okay.
Hmm.
So going to sleep with peace, waking up with power, you'll have access to that very conveniently through the Breathwork in Bed app. It's a subscription based model. You do get 28 days free to trial it.
Hmm.
But if you're willing to spend a few dollars to protect your most valuable thing that contributes to everything, that's the community that we're trying to build. But also, we use this to raise money for research into veterans with PTSD,
Hmm.
cancer disease, liver disease, a lot of brain injuries. So it's also a fundraising platform. Um, I do a lot of fundraising, raised over $1 million with the team. But this breathwork in bed, if you see the benefit in having your sleep sovereign, there's an
Hmm.
accumulation effect. Okay, there's you after one night of good sleep, 3 nights of good sleep, a week of good sleep, a month, a year. Just like there's an accumulation of bad effects. If you're getting one night of bad, 3 nights of bad, a month of bad.
Hmm.
So therein lies, and there's some bonus features in there that I won't tell you about. You'll find out when you get in there.
Hmm.
But if you can use this very easily access resources, you'll have those super powerful micro habits that the very successful people have in their lives. And it's sort of my gift to those listening today.
Okay, awesome, awesome, wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. Hey, thanks for sharing this lesser known technique. It is very, very, very powerful. Very, very powerful, man. And do you have any last? I mean, because you also happen to be a veteran and a small business owner. Do you have any last parting words of
Yeah,
profound words of
I'll
wisdom?
give it to you straight.
Hmm.
If you can control your breath, you can
Hmm.
control everything.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. That is a good way to end it. And with that, thank you so much, Tim, for joining me and then sharing this powerful wealth of knowledge. And to everybody listening, I don't think you mentioned social media, right? Did you
Oh,
did you
look, I
mention?
mean, look, yes, I've all got that, but that's not.
Mhm.
There's enough
Oh, okay.
social
Oh,
media in the
okay.
world.
So
I've
the
got
app.
it, but
Uh-huh.
everyone's got. There's enough social media in the world, and I
Yeah.
don't want people just to fill their eyeballs. I want them to fill their soul. So if I was to add one
Absolutely.
thing, yeah, one thing of
Absolutely.
value, go into the
Mhm.
app, add
Yeah.
add that layer of value into your life.
Mhm.
I don't want to just. I mean, yeah, you could go to my social media stuff, but that's
Uh-huh.
to me not where the
Oh,
uniqueness
okay.
is.
Absolutely. Okay. And I will have all those links on this
Yeah, yeah.
episode links on YouTube,
I'll also
Spotify,
drop, as a
and
gift to your listeners, I'll also drop a link to my
mhm.
audio book that the
Yeah.
first 50 people who hit it will get
Mhm.
access to a free copy of my audio book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you can hear the an in-depth story of the what's going on, and I'll also send you a little link for that breath of peace and possibility. Okay, so
Mhm.
people can access that and refine that as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, well, and thank you so much, Tim, for coming on this show. It's been awesome, and hopefully, next year we'll have you on again.
I'd love
And
to do it in another
yeah,
three in another 3 or 4 months. I'd absolutely love that. Chuka?
great, great, great. All right. Well, other than that, well, you enjoy the rest of your Sunday, man, and then thanks again for coming on.
No worries. Bye, everyone.
All right, that's a wrap. Okay, and other than that, everyone listening, check out the links, check out the podcast on Spotify, and see y'all on the next episode.